Viktos clothing brand. You've probably seen a lot of their stuff. They have some great deals and they have some awesome products. You may be wondering, what is the company about? Well, the answer is tactical clothing. Shoes, shirts, pants, hats, hoodies, coats, gloves. And the great thing about them is, one, they're a great company that supports the Second Amendment. And then two, their clothing's pretty awesome. Today, I wanted to share with you 3 pieces of clothing that I think are particularly good, that I like the most, that I've had so far, and I think you'll like them as well. So the first piece of clothing that I'd like to discuss with you is their shoes. So these are the core gym shoes. Now, I haven't tried all the rest of their shoes, but these shoes are particularly comfortable. And I didn't think so at first, surprisingly. I put them on and I was like, oh, these are nice. And then I wore them for a little longer and I was like, I don't like them. But I spent a little time giving them a fair shake. And after wearing them for a week, they kind of fit to my foot a little better. And these are the widest toe box, the most comfy wide toe box shoe that I own. In fact, I think that these feel more like slippers to me now than any of the other pairs of shoes that I own. So the materials are kind of interesting. They have a suede toe box and heel, and then they have a knit upper, a lot of space. I like them, they're good. The platform bottom I think is great for the gym, but also just, I think it looks great, fits great. I don't really have any complaints about the traction or tread, so I think they're just comfy shoes. You should give them a shot. They're not terribly expensive, and I think that they're valuable when it comes to their money. The second thing I'll talk about is this jacket, which I just unzipped, is called the Combanova jacket. I had to look it up because I couldn't quite remember. But I'm gonna show you something interesting about this jacket. So let's say you're outside, you're carrying a gun at the range. It has these side zippers, which are great for accessing your gun. And if you're doing concealment work, for the sake of ease, the both of them can flap up. So you can pull much easier and still have a nice tight profile when you're out and about. I think that's really cool. The other thing I think they did really well is they have 2 layers of inside pockets. So I can put stuff in the top layer and then I can have my hands in the bottom layer, or vice versa, put stuff in the bottom layer because it's colder, have my hands in the top layer because it's warmer. The other thing that I think is great is the shooter's back. So there's mesh along this backside, and as I press out, it stretches. And so I never really feel much resistance when shooting at the range. I think that's really great. So on the inside, we also have these great mesh pockets that I have used several times for their gloves, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I like to put them in the mesh pockets on the inside because they sit lower than the pockets here. And you can kind of see this upper pocket here. You can layer your hand and your glove. You don't have to bulk. It doesn't double up. It's worn really well for me. Everything I'm showing you, I've used for about a year plus. So this jacket is no exception to that. I've worn it for basically a year straight. And the reason why I say I've worn it for a year straight, even though it's summer and winter here, is because we live in Ohio and it's cold all the time. So it's a thin jacket. It's not a thick jacket. It's not a long-term winter jacket. But that lets me wear it in the summer when it's chilly in the mornings. And then in winter, I can layer it with, say, another denser shirt. And I can keep pretty warm in most temperatures. So I really like that a lot. That's it on the jacket. Let's talk about the gloves. These gloves are not for everyone. They are for me, but they're not for everyone. Now, these are the range trainer gloves. They have other gloves. These are the only ones that I've tried from them. But I think they have a couple of really great, you can tell that shooters made these gloves. And the reason that I say that is a couple of things. One, the 3 fingers here, thumb, pointer, middle, all have like touchscreen, which is great. But this finger, the pointer finger, the trigger finger, is thinner on the front. Only barely, it's a different material. And what I found is that it feels different than all the other fingers. It feels more, the dexterity is higher, okay? So right off the bat, right off the rip, made for shooters. You can tell that they've thought about your trigger finger and how valuable it is. The other thing I think they've done really well is these giant loops. They fit well in my Neomag tack trap, and I appreciate that a lot. But also they're easy to put on and off, you know. you're able to just grab it with the other glove on still. And you can put your finger through the loop and pull it on, no issues. Lastly, the ventilation. You can probably see this on camera, but we'll show you a little closer maybe here. They got great ventilation. Durability wise, I would not say these are a work glove. These are a shooting glove. And I would say that they have done me well with a hot rifle, but I wouldn't say they would do well for hammers and nails. There's some other features on here that I think are unimportant, like a little bit of armoring on the back side of your knuckles. I would say if these were like a combat glove, that would make more sense to me. They're a range glove. I use them for range purposes. I don't really need to have armored knuckles or fingers, but maybe it's to prevent you from smashing yourself between your steel plates when you're setting that up. Other than that, I would say that these may be the perfect range gloves for me. They're light, they're still durable enough to not get ripped up when I'm using them at the range, and they breathe well. I can still use my phone when my wife calls. That's it. So if this, or this appeal to you, you really should go check out Viktos. They're a great company, and they're good people. We're gonna see them here at SHOT Show. I'm Dusty with Trigger Time TV. Choose your gear wisely.